The vast blackness of space was suddenly illuminated by a dazzling display of golden lights. The human ship Explorer 1 floated silently as the enormous fleet of the Galactic Empire appeared on their radar. The Empire's ships were huge and unnecessarily decorated with glowing spikes, rotating orbs, and shimmering holograms of alien symbols. It was as if they had designed their fleet for a galactic fashion show rather than a practical space battle. Captain Mara looked at the view screen and tried to keep a straight face. "Are they serious?" she asked, suppressing a laugh. Her crew, sitting around her, were already chuckling. The absurdity of the Empire ships was too much for them. "Look at that one." One of the officers pointed at a particularly bizarre ship shaped like a crown, its spikes glowing in neon colors. "Who builds a ship like that? Do they think they're in a sci-fi movie?" The laughter echoed across the control room. As they giggled, a deep voice interrupted their moment. "Attention, humans!" boomed a transmission from the largest of the Empire's ships. The speaker's voice was dramatic and exaggerated, like an actor trying too hard to sound important. "This is High Commander Zelkor of the Galactic Empire," the voice continued. "You are in the presence of the greatest force in the galaxy. Bow before us and prepare to accept our terms or face destruction." Mara cleared her throat, trying to maintain a professional demeanor. "This is Captain Mara of the Explorer 1. We're not sure why we should bow, but we mean no harm." Her attempt at seriousness failed when her communications officer burst out laughing at the High Commander's tone. Soon, the entire bridge was laughing again. Silence. Zelkor's voice thundered. "You dare to mock the Empire? You will regret this insult." The screen shifted, revealing High Commander Zelkor himself. He was a tall alien with a pale blue face, wearing an outrageously elaborate golden robe covered in sparkling jewels. His headgear was an enormous metal crown that looked like it might fall off if he moved too quickly. Mara pressed a hand to her mouth, trying to stifle a laugh. "It didn't work." "What is so funny?" Zelkor demanded, his glowing yellow eyes narrowing. One of Mara's officers, unable to stop herself, whispered, "He looks like a Christmas tree ornament." That was the breaking point. The entire crew doubled over, laughing so hard that tears streamed down their faces. Zelkor's face turned a deeper shade of blue, and his crown rattled slightly. "Humans," he hissed, "you have insulted the honor of the Empire. This means war." The transmission ended abruptly, and the Empire's ships began moving into an attack formation. Mara straightened up, wiping her eyes. "All right, everyone, focus. They're serious now. Let's not underestimate them." The battle began, but it quickly became clear that the Empire's ships were more about show than practicality. Their weapons were flashy, firing bright beams of light that looked impressive but rarely hit their target. In contrast, the human ship's small, efficient weapons easily dodged the clumsy attacks. "They spent all their budget on decorations," one officer joked, firing another shot. Meanwhile, on the Empire's flagship, High Commander Zelkor was fuming. "How are they defeating us? They're laughing at us, and yet they fight like seasoned warriors." One of his advisors hesitated before speaking. "Commander, perhaps their laughter is some kind of weapon? A psychological tactic to unnerve us?" Zelkor considered this. "You may be right. We must study this laughter and discover its secrets." Back on the human ship, the crew had fully embraced the absurdity of their situation. Mara decided to use it to their advantage. They began broadcasting Earth's funniest videos, pranks, stand-up comedy, and cat memes on every communication frequency. The Empire's soldiers, who were trained to be serious at all times, were baffled. At first, they tried to ignore the broadcasts, but soon, small chuckles began spreading through their ranks. Some of them couldn't stop laughing. Their strict discipline started to crumble. Now, High Commander Zelkor grew desperate. "Stop laughing," he yelled at his crew. But it was too late. The humor was contagious. Even Zelkor couldn't resist a small smirk when a video of a baby penguin slipping on ice appeared on the view screen. In a last-ditch effort, the Galactic Emperor himself arrived in a golden throne-shaped spaceship. The Emperor was dressed even more extravagantly than Zelkor. his robe trailing behind him like a comet. He addressed the humans directly. "Humans," the Emperor said in a deep, theatrical voice, "you have proven your cunning. Surrender now, and we will consider sparing your planet." Mara stepped forward, her face calm but her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Your Majesty, we come in peace. But if you want us to surrender, you'll have to outdo this." She signaled her crew, and the screens lit up with Earth's funniest moments, a montage of ridiculous dance moves, pie-in-the-face gags, and animals doing silly tricks. The Emperor stared, his serious expression cracking. Then, to everyone's shock, he began laughing. The Galactic Emperor's booming laughter filled the airwaves, and soon the entire Empire's fleet followed. The humans watched in amazement as the once imposing alien ships powered down their weapons, their crews laughing uncontrollably. In the end, the Galactic Empire declared humans the masters of galactic humor and signed a peace treaty. The Emperor even requested more Earth comedies for his personal collection. As the Explorer One left the system, Captain Mara leaned back in her chair, smiling. Well, that's one way to make friends. And so, humanity became known not for its strength, but for its ability to bring laughter to the stars. The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for centuries. Its massive ships, towering statues, and dramatic ceremonies were designed to inspire awe and fear. The Empire had crushed countless civilizations under its rule, and its leaders believed they were untouchable. But that changed the day they encountered humanity. The Empire's grand fleet, led by the flagship Eternal Glory, arrived at Earth's edge, ready to make their demands. The fleet was a stunning sight, rows of massive ships covered in glowing spikes, pulsating energy, and intricate designs that made them look more like floating temples than war machines. Inside one of Earth's ships, Unity 1, Captain Elena Hayes and her crew watched the alien fleet on their view screens. Are those ships supposed to scare us?" Elena asked, squinting at the screen. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. "They look like disco balls with spikes," one of her officers muttered, barely able to hold back laughter. The room erupted into giggles, and Elena sighed, trying to stay professional. "All right, everyone, focus. They could still be dangerous." Just then, a transmission from the Empire came through. A towering alien appeared on the screen, draped in gold and silver robes that shimmered with every move. His voice boomed with exaggerated grandeur. "I am High Lord Venarius, Supreme Commander of the Galactic Empire," the alien declared. His crown, a glowing ring of light hovering above his head, wobbled slightly as he spoke. "Humans of Earth, you're in the presence of greatness. Bow before us and submit or face the wrath of the galaxy's greatest power." Elena and her crew froze for a moment, stunned by his over-the-top theatrics. Then, as one of the officers coughed to hide a laugh, the entire room burst into laughter. "Bow before us?" one of the crew members said, gasping for breath. "Is he serious?" Another officer pointed at Venarius's crown. "What's holding that thing up? Magic? Duct tape?" The laughter only grew louder. Captain Elena tried her best to stay composed, but even she couldn't help chuckling. On the other end, Venarius's face darkened as he realized what was happening. "You dare to mock the Empire?" he roared. "This insult will not be tolerated. Prepare for battle." The transmission cut off, and the Empire ships began moving into formation. Elena sat up straight. "All right, everyone, no more laughing. Shields up. Let's see what they've got." The Empire's first volley came a moment later. Bright beams of energy lit up the void of space, accompanied by dramatic explosions that served no purpose other than looking impressive. But the shots missed their mark entirely. "Did they just miss every shot?" one of the officers asked, incredulous. "It's like they're trying to scare us instead of actually hitting us," another said. The humans fired back, their compact and efficient weapons hitting their targets with precision. The Empire's ships were heavily armored, but it became clear they weren't designed for real combat. They were designed to look powerful. Meanwhile, on the Eternal Glory, High Lord Venarius was growing increasingly frustrated. "How are these primitives defeating us?" he demanded. "Our ships are the most advanced in the galaxy." One of his advisors hesitated before speaking. My lord, the humans. They are laughing. Perhaps their laughter is a form of psychological warfare. It could be some kind of weapon. Venarius stroked his chin, considering this. A weapon, you say? Then we must find a way to counter it. Back on Unity 1, the humans were starting to have fun. Between dodging the Empire's slow, predictable attacks, they began broadcasting Earth's funniest videos on every frequency. Cats falling off furniture, toddlers saying silly things, and classic slapstick comedy filled the Empire's communication channels. At first, the Empire's soldiers were confused. Then, they started laughing. It began with a low chuckle here and there, but soon, entire crews were doubled over, unable to control themselves. One soldier, watching a video of a man slipping on a banana peel, laughed so hard he accidentally shut down his ship's weapon systems. High Lord Venarius was horrified. "What is happening?" he demanded. "They're laughing, my lord," his advisor said, wiping tears of laughter from his own eyes. "The humans. They are too funny." Venarius clenched his fists. "This is unacceptable. I will deal with them personally." A short while later, the Empire's grandest ship, the Emperor's Glory, entered the battlefield. It was shaped like a throne and covered in golden armor that reflected the light of nearby stars. The Emperor himself, a towering figure in a robe that sparkled like the night sky, appeared on every screen. "Humans!" he boomed. "Your so-called humor ends now. Surrender or be destroyed." Elena grinned. "Let's see if he can handle this." She gave the signal, and Earth's funniest video compilation began playing. The Emperor watched, his stern expression slowly cracking. When a clip of a dog wearing sunglasses and dancing appeared, he couldn't hold it in anymore. The Emperor burst out laughing. It was a deep, booming laugh that echoed across the fleet. His guards looked at each other nervously before joining in. Soon, every Empire ship was filled with the sound of uncontrollable laughter. In the end, the battle was called off. The Emperor, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes, declared, "Humans, you are unlike any species we've ever encountered. We offer peace. In exchange for more of your, what do you call it, comedy?" Earth and the Galactic Empire signed a historic treaty that day. Humanity wasn't just safe, they were now the galaxy's greatest comedians. And so, the day the Empire cried wasn't a day of sorrow, but a day of laughter that echoed across the stars. In the quiet darkness of space, the human fleet stood face to face with the Galactic Empire's warships. The Empire's ships were enormous, covered in glowing spikes, rotating symbols, and blinding lights that made them look more like floating carnivals than weapons of war. Captain Ryan Carter of the human flagship Horizon stared at the screen, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. Beside him, his second-in-command, Lieutenant Jade Harper, raised an eyebrow. "Are those warships or Christmas decorations?" she asked, a smirk forming on her lips. Ryan chuckled, leaning back in his chair. "I'm not sure if we should be scared or start singing holiday songs." The bridge crew burst into quiet laughter, but their humor was short-lived as a booming voice echoed through their speakers. "Attention, primitive species." The crew fell silent, their eyes fixed on the screen. A tall alien appeared, dressed in shimmering gold robes with a crown of glowing crystals floating above his head. His expression was one of pure arrogance. "I am Supreme Commander Varlak of the Galactic Empire," the alien announced, his voice dripping with self-importance. "You are trespassing in our space. Bow before us or prepare to be destroyed." Ryan tried to keep a straight face, but the way Varlak waved his hands dramatically while speaking made it impossible. A quiet snore escaped him, and then Jade broke into a full laugh. "Bow before us?" she repeated, shaking her head. "Do they think this is some kind of medieval play?" The crew couldn't hold it in anymore. The sound of laughter filled the bridge, echoing off the walls. Ryan raised a hand, trying to signal everyone to calm down, but even he was struggling to contain his amusement. On the Empire's flagship, Varlak watched the humans laugh, his face turning a darker shade of blue. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded. "Why are you laughing?" Ryan, wiping a tear from his eye, turned back to the screen. Commander Varlak, we're not laughing at you. Well, okay, maybe we are, but it's just your ships, your speech. It's all a bit much, don't you think? Varlak's eyes narrowed. You mock the greatest empire in the galaxy? This is an act of war. The transmission ended abruptly, and the Empire's fleet began to move into attack formation. Ryan sat up straighter in his chair. All right, jokes aside, he said, his voice serious now. Shields up. Let's see what these guys can do. The Empire's first attack came moments later. Their weapons fired beams of energy that lit up the void of space with colorful explosions. It looked impressive, but the blasts missed the human ships entirely. Jade tilted her head, watching the spectacle. They're wasting more energy on making their weapons look pretty than on accuracy. The human fleet responded with precise shots that disabled two of the Empire's smaller ships. The Empire's warships were heavily armored, but their movements were slow and predictable. Inside the horizon, Ryan's crew couldn't help but notice how ineffective the Empire's tactics were. They're all about appearances, Jade muttered. No wonder they're so dramatic. Ryan leaned back, thinking for a moment. Then a grin spread across his face. If they're all about appearances, let's give them something to watch. Open a channel to the fleet. I have an idea. Minutes later, every screen on the Empire ships lit up with broadcasts from Earth. Instead of threats or strategies, the humans began transmitting clips of Earth's funniest moments comedy shows, cat videos, and memes. On the Empire's flagship, Varlak stared at the screen in confusion. A video of a man slipping on a banana peel played, followed by a montage of dancing dogs. His soldiers, trained to maintain discipline at all times, began to snicker. What is this madness? Varlak demanded. It's humor, my lord, one of his advisors said, holding back a chuckle. I don't understand, Varlak said, frowning. How can this humor be a weapon? Back on the horizon, Ryan and his crew watched as the Empire's fleet slowed down. The aliens were no longer firing their weapons. Instead, their ships seemed disorganized, as if their crews were too distracted to focus. It's working, Jade said, grinning. Ryan nodded. Keep the broadcasts going. Let's see how far we can push this. The humans continued sending videos, everything from ridiculous dance moves to people getting surprised by confetti cannons. On the Empire's flagship, even Varlak couldn't resist cracking a smile. I don't understand why this is funny, he muttered, laughing despite himself. Why the time the Emperor arrived in his grand throne-shaped ship, the Empire's fleet was in complete disarray. The Emperor, a towering figure draped in robes of starlight, appeared on every screen, his expression stern. Humans, he said in a deep, booming voice. What have you done to my fleet? Ryan stood, addressing the Emperor directly. We're showing them the power of laughter. It's not a weapon, it's a way of connecting. Why fight when we can laugh together? The Emperor frowned, but as another video played a baby penguin tumbling into the snow, his expression softened. A deep chuckle escaped him, and then he began to laugh. The sound of the Emperor's laughter spread through the fleet, and soon every alien ship was filled with uncontrollable laughter. In the end, the Emperor called off the attack. Humans, he said, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes, you are truly unique. We offer peace in exchange for more of this humor. Ryan smiled. You've got a deal. And so, humanity taught the galaxy that sometimes the best way to make peace isn't through force, but through the simple act of sharing a laugh. The Galactic Empire was an unstoppable force, feared across the universe. Its fleets were vast, its leaders arrogant, and its rule unchallenged. For centuries, it had crushed any species that dared to resist. When they discovered humanity, they assumed it would be another quick conquest. They were wrong. On board the Empire's flagship, Eternal Majesty, High Commander Zorath prepared to deliver his ultimatum. He stood tall, his shimmering black armor glowing with lines of energy. His voice was cold and commanding as he spoke to the humans via a holographic transmission. Humans of Earth, kneel before the might of the Galactic Empire, Zorath declared, his cape swishing dramatically as he gestured with a gauntleted hand. Submit now, or face annihilation. On the human ship Vanguard, Captain Sarah Grant watched the transmission with her crew. Zorath's hologram loomed over the command deck, his voice echoing like thunder. But instead of fear, the humans felt amused. "Is he serious?" Lieutenant Mark Daniels whispered. Sarah tried to keep a straight face, but Zorath's over-the-top theatrics made it impossible. The way he emphasized every word, his exaggerated gestures, and his glowing cape, it all looked ridiculous. "He looks like a villain from one of those old sci-fi movies," Sarah said, her lips twitching as she tried not to laugh. The crew couldn't hold it in anymore. Giggles turned into full-blown laughter. Someone even started imitating Zorath, dramatically waving their arms and shouting, "Kneel before me!" Zorath's hologram frowned. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his tone sharp. "Why do you laugh? Do you not understand the power of the Empire?" Sarah wiped a tear from her eye, trying to regain her composure. "Commander Zorath, we're not laughing at your power. It's just, well, your presentation is a bit much, don't you think?" Zorath's face darkened. "You dare to mock the Empire? This is an act of war." The transmission ended abruptly, and the Empire's fleet began moving into attack formation. Sarah sighed and straightened in her chair. "All right, everyone, enough jokes. Shields up. Let's get ready." The Empire's first salvo came moments later, bright, colorful beams of energy that filled the void of space. The human fleet dodged easily. "They're more interested in putting on a light show than actually hitting us," Mark said, shaking his head. The humans returned fire, their compact and precise weapons striking the Empire's ships with pinpoint accuracy. The Empire's massive, spiked vessels were heavily armored, but they moved like slugs. It quickly became clear that the Empire's focus on style over substance was their greatest weakness. Back on the Eternal Majesty, Zorath paced angrily. "How are these primitives outmaneuvering us?" he barked. An aide hesitated before answering. "My lord, the humans. They appear to be laughing at us? Laughing? Why?" Zorath demanded. "We're not sure," the aide admitted. "It might be some form of psychological attack." Meanwhile, on the Vanguard, Sarah and her crew were brainstorming. "They're so focused on appearances," Sarah said, tapping her chin. "If we want to win this without too much damage, we need to use that against them." Mark grinned. "What if we hit them with Earth's greatest weapon?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "What weapon?" Humor. The crew exchanged glances, then broke into grins. It was worth a try. Minutes later, the humans began broadcasting comedy clips directly to the Empire's ships. Videos of animals doing silly things, classic stand-up routines, and memes filled the Empire's screens. First, the Empire's soldiers were confused. Then, the laughter started. It began as small chuckles, barely audible. But as the videos kept playing, the laughter grew louder. On one ship, an officer watching a video of a cat falling off a table started laughing so hard he fell out of his chair. "What is this madness?" Zorath shouted as laughter echoed through his flagship. He turned to his communications officer. "Shut it down." "We can't, my lord," the officer said, struggling to keep a straight face as he watched a video of a man slipping on ice. "Their signals are overriding ours." Zorath's fury was palpable, but even he couldn't resist the infectious humor. A clip of a dog wearing sunglasses and dancing pushed him over the edge. He let out a reluctant chuckle, which quickly turned into full-blown laughter. The Empire's fleet was in chaos. Soldiers were too distracted to man their stations, and commanders were laughing so hard they couldn't issue orders. Some ships accidentally powered down their weapons, and a few even retreated, unable to handle the human attack. Back on the Vanguard, Sarah and her crew watched the chaos unfold. "It's working," Mark said, grinning. Sarah nodded. "Let's take it up a notch." They began broadcasting live comedy routines, with crew members performing skits and jokes tailored to the Empire's overly dramatic culture. One skit featured a human pretending to be an Empire officer, shouting, "Bow before me," while tripping over his own cape. The Empire soldiers couldn't stop laughing. Even Zorath, known for his stoic demeanor, was doubled over, tears streaming down his face. Finally, Zorith called for a ceasefire. "Humans," he said, his voice still shaky from laughter, "you have defeated us, not with weapons, but with this strange, powerful force you call humor. We cannot fight you. We only wish to learn from you." Sarah smiled. "We'd be happy to share our humor with you, Commander. Maybe next time, we can meet as allies instead of enemies." And so, the humans turned a potential war into a historic alliance. The Galactic Empire, once feared across the stars, became known for its newfound appreciation of comedy. In the end, humanity didn't just break the Empire, they taught it how to laugh.